I hope you're having a good day. You've had food. Well, for some reason, I thought my overhead light was on. It is not. I don't know why I thought that. I hope you're having a good day. You've had food, water, everything you need to do, everything you need to get done. We are supposed to be finishing my dream house today. Apparently, I streamed way too long last time because OBS is a butthead and it isn't showing me the correct time at the bottom of the screen. And so I was paying attention to that and not the clock about 2 inches away from it. And I streamed 3 hours when I usually stream 2 because I'm a morning person who does night streams for some reasons. Hello! Welcome! I admit I don't remember that username. I recognize it, but I don't remember. I'm going to assume one of the people from Royal Realms. Oh yeah, and today's drink of the day. Okay, now I know. Hello, hi. It's nice to have you in the stream again. Today's drink of the day, I'm just gonna call honey cucumber. It's honey cucumber and ginger ale. I had to make my own cucumber syrup. And honey syrup. Add a little lemon, little mint. It's nummy. I want to play Amalgamation. We were supposed to finish decorating the dream house. I want to play Amalgamation. I didn't even get stream music going. I am a mess today, and I'm gonna try again and be better tomorrow. Because that's the only thing I can do. Shuffle those, there we go. Painting so many paintings, Lord help me. Oh no. That's when you just start throwing them. And throwing up your boom arm. Throwing them on your walls. You could see a tiny bit. Where's my hand? There we go. You can see a tiny bit of one right here. But I just really want to play Amalgamation. I was hanging out with people on Royal Realm, which is going to be up now Sunday, not Wednesday, because I need time to do stuff, and we're not going to be doing videos every Sunday instead. And I was talking with somebody about modpacks and mods and stuff, and I started info dumping about Amalgamation. I'm like, oh my god, I just want to play it. And I was getting ready, I was setting up everything for stream, and literally until about 5 minutes ago, I'm like, yeah, we'll just do the dream house, just decorate it, have everything. I feel horrible about that. How do I feel about streaming Amalgamation? I want to stream Amalgamation. Let's do that. I have an art show next month and I only have one painting. Oh no! Yeah, that do. Paint some Minecraft. Paint some Minecraft, make it look pretty. Every now and again I'll scroll on Tumblr and I'll see something. I can't remember which one was it. I think it's a Minecraft screenshot that someone painted, and someone reblogged in fat text, in large heading text, to tell you, scroll back up, that's not a screenshot, that's a painting. That is not a screenshot, and it looks like a screenshot. It's not, it's a beautiful painting. I painting of woe and despair. You could paint the Aether portal. The vanilla Aether portal. It's a little Aether portal, the glowstone portal, water falling out of it. The despair of when it doesn't. Organs, ooh. You ever see those cursed pictures of, like, meat pie, or like an organ meat pie? Every now and again I'll come across stuff like that again. Or when adults are drawing in kids' books and they just make it absolutely horrid. I happened to stumble upon a rabbit hole of that on Pinterest the other day. And I'm like, I remember being about 10 years younger and watching YouTube compilations of these that I should not have been watching, but I was. And of course, listening to creepypasta, which I also should not have been, but is what it is. And what's not going to be, it is what it is, because I hope I'm still good at this. I clicked off it. Amalgamation. Why is my phone going off? It's telling me things I already know. I don't need to know about my mobile dashboard. I have the dashboard right here. So we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna, for the funnies, I want to use player mod. I want to use vanilla. There we go. Me. For the funnies, we're gonna go select close library. Hatsune Miku! Okay. I love doing it. Okay, traits. Yep. I picked myself frame. You know, yep. Perfect. Hello, Shadow! We are playing Amalgamation. Should I be a normal person and start somewhere? Or should we do the thing that I hate to do, because this is hardcore. Last time I really did a hardcore, I started it every single time in the Ancient City, so I think you know what I have to do. Or, no, I want to find it by accident. I still found it by accident, even though we started in the Ancient City. I want to find it by accident. I want to see if I can make a new record. Yep. I am going to be my favorite Phantom. I have less hearts, but that doesn't matter because we can level up, so it's perfectly fine. I can basically walk through blocks. That's the easiest way, but also a very difficult way to get used to. Easiest way to play the game. And then we want to be a warrior. Why are you like this? Because apparently I enjoy suffering. Life is too cushy. I gotta suffer in my games. And of course, my everything's lagging. Life is too easy. I must suffer in my games instead. I must suffer with ridiculous projects if I cannot make the game hard, and if I can make the game hard, I will. Amalgamation is me making Minecraft hard. I forgot I made it into reimagined texture pack. Okay, yeah. I completely forgot I had done this. I don't remember when I did this. I did this at some point. But currently, the other games I play... Stardew, I already have an annoying time with. More often than not. For this reason or that, because I'm trying to get things done and I've never done a legitimate playthrough. So I'm currently doing a legitimate playthrough of it. So that's annoying and difficult enough. Plus, there's already the luck stat every day, so I feel like that does enough of a job. Cult of the Lamb, I have never beat, but every Thursday we're playing Survival Hard Mode, which automatically turns it to Quick Start, and I don't know any of the story anymore, because I just wanted to play game difficult, and it assumes you finish the game when you click that option. I have not finished the game. I have not done that. So that tells you a whole lot about me. Why am I playing Minecraft normal? This is not the mod pack where you play Minecraft normal. What am I doing? Let's get down here. There's a barrel right over here. We're gonna ignore everything else that's going on. Yeah, we'll take some emeralds. Do I have any? It's only the bow you can make out of emeralds. I do need the cobweb. I made taco bowls for dinner. I thought you'd be proud to know. Ooh, nummy. I don't know. I'm trying to reset my spawn point where if I die, I die. There ain't no coming back from that. Just make sure I'm at least somewhat safe. Apples! There we go, iron. This is not the mod pack where you play Minecraft. This is the mod pack where you adventure around and do stupid shit and find the stupidest way to play the game. Why? Where are your arms? Can't do anything, I got these little arms, I can't do it. I don't remember the Robinson's quote, but the Robinson's quote, the T-Rex. X marks the spot, coarse fruit, I don't need. I do need we need 4 amethysts for warpstone. I do need a piece of emerald for that, which I completely forgot. It's 1 emerald. It's stupidly 1 emerald because I hate that it's 1 emerald and not 4 emeralds instead of 1 ender pearl and not 4 ender pearls. Which is highly annoying. Oh hey, it's this other structure. There's so many structures hidden around right here. So many words and characters hidden around in my vocabulary that I am struggling to pronounce. Little arms and big head. I don't think this plan was very thought through or something. Yeah. I don't need infinity. What's the stupidest weapon? Do we want to do the 1-punch build? We could do a 1-punch build. I could attempt to make that work. I've always been trying to make it- Hey, ender pearls! There we go. I've always tried to make it work, but it never quite manages to get there. You got stuff, you got spectral arrows. I don't care about the rest of this. All the way down here. Yeah. Oh! Hello! Can I bonk? Alright, I'm baby. I ain't good at anything. Aspiration, gunpowder. I don't care. I need to get my backpack. That is another thing. I do need to get my backpack. There's nothing over here. There's literally nothing. I should know that at this point. Somehow I do not. Why is there just a million structures back to back to back right here? We gotta remember come up here because this has the good shit. It has good stuff. Are these working? No. I can't tell which urns are actually useful or not. I don't remember if gold's useful or anything. Ender pearls are certainly useful. Else we'll take an efficiency pick. If I get diamonds and a smith and table, we can upgrade the diamond. New Minecraft challenge, name 5 times Mew has thought of anything ever. You know what? Fair. 100% fair. There's a little bit of thought that's gone into this, but it's mostly been, what would I like that kind of fits everything else I've done? And it's not been anything more than that. We'll take coal. I'm surprised I haven't been mold yet. Very surprised on that account. Just in case I do happen to get mold immediately after that, because streamer luck. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Wow, look at zeros. Yeah, brain ain't all there. Brain is not all there. It should be. It's left a Timbuktu. Consistently, the moment I hit record, that's what happens. If I dare open OBS, brain is off in another universe. There is no control over it. There is not a thing. Why am I trying to get... You know, I am trying to get fortune. That is actually eventually useful. That would be perhaps... I didn't even hear you. Alright. You ready to wait the 5 minutes it takes to load, and the reason oh yeah, welcome to the... That was what the world was named. What do we want to name in the next world? Well, it takes the 5 minutes to load. Or, well, we have to name it first, huh? Cucumber. If I thought ahead, I probably would have prepared some cucumber to throw in here, but I didn't do that. I mixed all the shit I had prepped together, aside from honey syrup, which is honey in bottom glass. Hot water over, stir until clear. Ta-da, you have made honey syrup. And then I grabbed some spearmint leaves from the front yard. We got a pot of spearmint. That's supposedly keep the ants away. It doesn't. But it's slowly reaching out. Mint has that problem where it likes to take over everything. So if you don't keep it in check, it will just spread out like wildfire. So we have it in a plastic pot in the front yard. It is not planted. We have it in a plastic pot, but already is a few more new saplings trying to branch out. But it actually has better leaves than the actual pot. Nummy, nummy, nummy. Cucumber and spearmint is so underrated and so good. I love it. This definitely tastes like an adult drink, just like a margarita mojito or something. But it's just fully a kid's drink. Alright. Vanilla, Hatsune Miku, where are you? Thank you. Done. Rainbow, boop, boop. Thank you. Somewhere. Phantom. Can you tell how many times I've... What? If I look underneath here and there's an ancient city... You know, we're not even gonna do anything else. All I'm gonna do is break my ancient city record. We are going down into the crust of the earth and I'm breaking my ancient city record once and for all. Because I guarantee you there is one under here. There is a deep dark down here. There is no chance in hell there ain't. There is no world where there is not an ancient city down here. Or some form of the deep dark. You aren't telling me there is not? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's over there. I gotta move out of this cave quick. Because I'm gonna... Which ways? I just need to go over there. All I care about is that I get my sneak achievement. Where's a stupid skulk thing? It's not a sensor near me. Oh. Well, I'll take that. I don't care about anything else. I want to see my statistic. Because technically I am in the deep dark. I want to see 1.46 minutes. Less than 2 minutes for me to find the deep dark. Less than 2 minutes. I'll stick to my Dr. Pepper, thank you very much. Fair enough. I've been doing ginger ale.
I miss my wife's tales. I miss her a lot.
I miss him a lot. I'll be back. Cucumber failed me. Is this the time where I start naming them after mods again? Because the last time I named a world after my mods, Pumpkin won it for us all. Axralia. Axralia, are you gonna keep me alive? Name it Taco. Okay, we'll name it Taco Bowl. We'll start with Taco Bowl. Taco Bowl! Been a minute since I've had Taco Bowl. That sounds good. That does actually sound good. We had some leftover, like, I don't know exactly what it was. It was a Mexican sort of pork. I could not tell you what it actually was, but it was pork. And I made a little bowl of cilantro lime rice to go with it. It was very good. That was my lunch. I think I just need to enjoy some salted rice more, because I love that. That was delicious. I usually make sushi rice. My desk is an absolute mess, because I just have everything strewn about, which is definitely not which is definitely contributed to the fact I didn't get much done today. Absolutely not. There we go. Move the nice little journal, the dump journal, off to the side. Oh, thank you. Fantastic. And my little pile of napkins. Should I drink the paint water on my desk? No. No. You know what? I have a party thing this Friday. I'm just gonna make a drink. I'm gonna make a beverage called paint water, and I'm just gonna throw in a bunch of syrups until it looks like paint water and throw in a little vodka or something. Paint water sounds like it'd be a beverage at a bar. That sounds like it. That sounds like I don't know. Hellworld 1.0 update comes out in 3 days. You will never see me again. Fair. Very fair. Yes, I'm doing Hatsune Miku every time. It's funny. You gotta add something to make it opaque so it looks accurate. If you add enough grenadine or not vanilla syrup, simple syrup, you could probably achieve that. Milk vodka. What is it, like Dr. Pilk? Pilk you can drink? For some reason, that's a thing. Granted, I don't drink a lot of soda as it was. Even before I stopped really drinking soda, I didn't drink a lot in the first place. You know what? Let's forget all this. I'm just going straight down. What can I see? What can I find? I live in the caves. There's something over there, and that should give us most of everything we need. Dr. Pilk's vodka. You know what? Fair enough. Get all the way down, all the way down. Give me the things I want and need. Thank you. Cool. Name tag. Gunpowder. Pickup upgrade, we don't care about that. I do care about the string. And then this thing over here. Not to mention that my health still is 70 hours, it's hardly gone down. I will be playing so much of Pal World. Why am I trying to go around this? I have the things. Diamonds, there we go. Sharpness, don't care. We don't care. I'll take that. We kinda need some sort of food. So that's what we'll do for the moment. I probably should have taken that tree. I probably should have actually sat down for a second. I completely ignored the diamond pickaxe. I probably should have stuck around to actually mine that tree, but we didn't do that. So here we are. I'm slowly getting through Stardew. For context, I have not touched it in a long time because the last time I touched it was prior to my ADHD diagnosis. And I have 200 hours in the game from that time. I never made it past year 2 fall. That is the farthest I have ever made it, and not for difficulty, but for perfectionism. I would be on Stardew until 2 or 3 a.m. That is not a lot for other people. That's late for me. I was sleep deprived as well during this time. I should not have been doing that. It took me 10 hours to feel rested, and even then I didn't feel rested. I should have been getting way more sleep than that. Now, I actually am getting as well sleep as I can. I'm moving around a bit because I realized I'm not actually getting the best sort of sleep. I need to adjust it a little bit, and I'm hoping the adjustment works out in my favor. I think I literally just need to move my wake-up time like a half hour later, and it should fix majority of my problems. Hello, Mick. What you got for me today? Please, give me the whoopee cushion. Let me have the streamer luck and give me the whoopee cushion. That, you know what? I'll take the flippers. They look silly. I like them. Excuse? I said I'll take them. Thank you. They look very goofy. Well, Amalgamation is absolutely not like a server experience. I just think it'd be so funny to have it in a server or use this as a server. I just think it'd be funny. I don't think it'd actually be a well-rounded server at all. I don't think it'd be an interesting multiplayer experience. I just think it'd be funny. I just want to see people flounder around and go, what the hell am I doing? What's going on here? And see how it affects the normal server experience. Because you don't have to do any normal Minecraft here. There's not a lick of normal Minecraft you have to actually deal with. I don't need a bed. If I die, I die. That's what it is. What it is. Is that a mimic? Is that a mimic right there? Yes, it is. Can you give me the whoopee cushion? Would you be ever so kind as to do that? Maybe. You know what? Never mind. We're going scuba diving. It's decided this. Oh. Yeah, that's why I gotta turn that off. Unfortunately. So I can actually see. We could always do an artifact bingo. That could be our goal this time around. Do I still have artifact bingo? If I don't personally have the file, I probably don't. I'm not even actually checking. What I'm doing, I'm absolutely positive I have the file up for people to use. If you go to the Amalgamation CurseForge page in media, there is a bingo file for you in gallery. Where is this? There we go. Artifact bingo. Save image. And how we're gonna do this is I'm gonna MS Paint this. Where's Paint? That is Medibank Paint. That is not what I clicked. I know you have the same name. That is not what I hotbarred. File, open. Download this. Thank you. And how we're gonna pull this off is I'm gonna make... Was that really the issue? Oh my god. Context. Let me actually click MS Paint. There we go. Context, the... Why can you not... Can I refresh that? Can we refresh that? Properties. What? Why can't you see the image? What the? What? I just... Why? I literally just want to have a little bingo board. Save. Why? Is it just... No, it's only my cursor. It's not even actually capturing anything. That's... Change the capture method. There we go. That'll do. You don't need to see my cursor. Alright, we bingo this. This is now our goal. We're playing hardcore bingo. Forget the one punch. Hardcore bingo a year later. A brush. We're gonna take... Yeah, that's fine. A big boy brush. Yeah. There we go. We've so forgotten these little things. And where's the snorkel? Snorkel? Snorkel! There we go. Yeah, and you guys see that. Perfect. Perfect. Save. A huge problem I was having with the capture... Let me lock that because it's annoying me. A huge problem I was having with the OBS capture is the game chat specifically hated if I dared click on anything. And the only thing I could really look at and see, this is kind of different, maybe that's causing the problem, was the chat words that we occasionally use if I'm doing like a chill stream on Passion SMP. And I removed that before stream, and hey, guess whose stream is running normally finally? Also, it's like trying to hover over this, so I'm gonna move that off to the side, because I can't see my own mouse in the game. I still can't see my own mouse in the game, lovely. I guess I shall just have to deal. It's very disorienting, but I guess it is what it is. Here we go. We go back to the structure. It happens often. It's gonna happen often enough. I might as well. Oh, hi! At least we're all very slow at the start. Thank you, thank you. I can't see where my mouse is to change. I can't see where my mouse is. You guys can see where my mouse is. I can't see where my Why? Why can't I see where my own mouse is? This is horrid. Okay, I guess. Wait. I don't have anything to make armor. I'm just gonna golden apple and trust that we're fine for now. I shouldn't trust very long. There we go! I can do something with that. Okay. Still very disoriented. That I can't actually see the things that I need to see, but fine. Whatever. We'll give Mew pants. He needs some pants. And then I don't even have sticks. I need sticks! Give me the stick. Boink. Boink. Fantastic. Yes, very good. Little bit better for wear. Just a tiny bit so. What about you? Coal? Thank you for the coal. Coal. Cool. This is why I strongly recommend Phantom. Because it just makes playing the game easy. It's just a fun way to play it. I want to run like a fake mini D&D with Axe and Lilac using Amalgamation. I think it'd be so fun and so funny. I just think it'd be an interesting thing. I just want to low-key dungeon master and help them out throughout the game. I think that'd be genuinely fun. If I could go around and make a little D&D for them, that'd be great. If I could set up a world where they could run around and I know what they're gonna encounter, and we could full roleplay. I would love that. Minecraft is just my medium for whatever I feel like in the moment. And lately, it's been storytelling. Royal Realms, the episode that's going to go out, is going to be far more storytelling focused. Literally everything I'm doing in that SMP, I'm trying to figure out how I can justify it lore-wise and be like, okay, I'm allowed to make an iron farm because I went to visit this village, and I found a second village that was far larger. The first village is enemies with the second village and wants me to capture the second village and go to war with them so they don't have to fight them anymore. So suddenly, it all makes sense. As much lore as I can come up with, as many reasons as I can justify, I will. Like, even the XP farm, I'm gonna justify as, like, the village elders teaching me what to do. And how to survive the world or something. Something to that extent, as much as I can. Brain can't think on the why am I grabbing wither roses? My brain's still very stuck. The last several times I have played Amalgamation, I've been like, oh, I want to grab wither roses and maybe make an XP farm out of it. And I never do, and my brain is still stuck on doing that. Anyway. My brain is very much so stuck on, it doesn't want to think. It's not thinking about the things it should. It's thinking about everything else possible. It's thinking about how to make redstone work, and I don't know how redstone work. It's not thinking about, you know, that I need to do my workout in the morning, or, you know, the language lessons that I should be doing daily, and I haven't been. Which, very relatable, yes, very much so. But also, I kind of need to do that, regardless. One of you should have golden carrots, right? Rabbit feet, that's the one we're looking for. Golden carrot, thank you. Because they're a potion ingredient. Gas tier, melon. Destroy. Hello! And... oh, wait, hold on. I need to use my levels, thank you. Golden carrot. Praise, you suck. Well. Very annoying. You got anything? You have eyeballs? Eyeballs for moi? Well, more eyeballs. I have more than enough eyes now. I have eyes for days. Eyes for days! Speaking of eyes for days, I have seen 3 separate spiders a day, and I don't know what that means. But that has in fact happened, and I'm not sure what to think of it, what to feel about it. 2 of them were jumping spiders. Very cute little jumping spiders that were hanging out. First one, I couldn't tell you what it was. It was just a skinny brown spider, little thing. He was crawling around the kitchen. I saw him, I'm like, oh, Mott, watch out. Little spider. Let me go grab one of the Totitos jars. Grab a salsa jar. Pop him in it real quick. Get him outside. Hey, diamonds. I'll take some diamonds. Pop him in the jar, get him outside of the garden. Go protect the raspberries, please and thank you. I don't think I even realized this room was down here. Straight up, I don't think I actually realized that was there. And then, a little while later, I was hanging out back here in my room. I was waiting on my rice cooker. And I hear in the kitchen... oh no, another one! I hear like a bit of shouting and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? And I go out there to check, and Ma has on the floor just a jar upside down, because she's in the middle of eating lunch. She and my nephew are in the middle of eating lunch. And she's explaining to him, like, this is a good spider. He hates bugs. He does not like bugs. He is absolutely frightened of them. He and his mom both. Oh, I was just here. I don't need to be looting this one. But this is a big old jumping spider. It's a black one with little white speckles about it. And he's got a cute little eyes. Cute little face. And I bring him outside and he just does not want to leave. He's the cutest thing. And I keep talking to him like, buddy, what's going on? Why aren't you leaving? Where are you going? Who? I am too busy telling stories and not playing the game. Because, you know, hardcore is hardcore. Thank you. We need to upgrade damage. I need to see my mouse for like 2 seconds. There we go. But poor thing did not want to leave. He was just hanging out in the jar. And I kept talking to him like, hey buddy, what's going on? What's happening? Do you not want to be in the raspberries? Do you want to be over in the blueberries? And he just, every now and again when I'm talking to him, he just looks up at me with big old eyes. He'll wash his face a little bit and he'll look up at me again. I ended up just leaving him on the deck. I'm like, okay, I guess you're gonna go when you want. I wish he stuck around. He'd be so... I wish I had the stuff to keep like a little jumping spider pet. Hey, excuse me. We're vibing out here. We're trying to do artifact bingo. You're not gonna get in the way of that. Can I heal? Please. That would be kind of nice. Alright. Fine. Helmet, I guess? Blink. Can I heal at some point? I'm just gonna... Golden apple. Oh. I completely forgot Dusty was in the room. Full-heartedly. I just hear a little think. I think his tail nudged some food in his bowl. Num num. Num num num. There we go. Finally healing. Thank you. Actually, no. I want to fully heal. Because you're being a butthead. And where's my mouse? There it is. Because they keep trying to get me. And kill me, and I'm not about that. Believe it or not, life felt kind of alright, actually. Kind of want to keep doing that. That'd be great, thanks. Now I'm just paranoid of the wraiths. Yep, like that. Because they come out of nowhere and steal half of my health. There's another mimic up there. Not sure what they could give me right now. I have a bunch of pearls, We still need to get a explorer's compass. I'm not even sure if I need that. Because my brain's still like, Explosion 5. I don't even care if I'm actually getting that. I want it. I want it. Just for the fact to have it. I just want it. Come on. Pretty please, can you heal? I know I'm eating horrid food, but if you could do that, that'd be great. Thank you. I need to play Amalgamation so much more. I adore this Modpack so much. I need to come back and make another update for it. Because of doing Passion SMP, there's little things here or there. I'm like, oh, I need this all the time now. I don't know if I've added superior... Maybe I should do a transport update. Help out with the horses and such. Maybe give a few more ways to travel around like that. I don't need any more coal. I don't need any of the other stuff in there. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Where's my mouse? Okay, I'm not sure how much more I can get here. So we might just move on. Is that a wither skull? That's a skelly skull. It just looks like wither skull. Not much else I can get here, so... Where was I seeing that mimic? Mimic? I was seeing a mimic here. I swear I was seeing it right here. Where's the mimic gone? Where's the rum gone? What's happened? There's a little waystone over here. I'll happily take that. Bread. I do need the string. I will keep the cobwebs for now, because I think we can go to player bases with that compass. Perhaps, maybe... Heavy maybe there. I'm not fully sure of that. I think you can. But you'd probably have more luck literally just running through caves, especially as a phantom. Is that that's a player base, I think. Oh, there's one right there. You got Mimic? Mimics are one of the ways you can... Oh, I've already been here. Mimics are one of the ways you can guarantee to get artifacts, so that's why we're trying to go after them specifically. Oh yeah, there is one right here. Hi. Hello. Oh, you are stuck in the lava. Can you not be in the lava, please? Can you slowly make your way over here? That'd be great. Yeah, if you could do that. Because I really don't want you to burn the loot. Yeah, a little further down, if you could. Okay, great. Thank you. Lovely. More experience! Golden hook, thank you! Put that on my hand. Golden hook. Nice. Yeah, we're gonna rename stream. Hardcore Phantom Warrior. Bingo. Alright, we'll put, bingo runs. There we go. Bingo run. Artifact bingo runs. Done. There we go. Is there... That's not a Mimic over there. That's covered in stuff. There's a bad boy over here, though. What's going on over here? What bad boy is lurking about? I see there is one. Which one is he? Even taller up? Way taller up? Where is this boy? Where is this boy? Yeah? Hmm? Huh? Oh, it's just a skelly creeper. Hi! Thank you. Stay dead. And more glowberry. I really need to get finding more mimics. Oh, there we go! One on the radar! Thank you, thank you! Thankfully, the smoke particles kind of give it away when you find a player camp. Most of them have a campfire going. Not all of them have it active, but most of them will have a campfire in some capacity. Oh, there goes the sword. Axe it is. I should get my lucky scarf! Oh yeah, I'm not gonna see a thing when I'm doing that. We should get my claws going. I don't have anything in my offhand anyway. I might as well. There's nothing stopping me. Doink. Yeah. Swarf. We have a couple bingos starting to come ahead. Is there anything I could cook? No. I don't think anyhow. There's a player camp over there. It doesn't look like it has a mimic, but it is. And then there's a warp stone. I don't think they have started to level up yet, so it's not a concern quite yet. What you got? Bread. I can make toast! Y'all got flint? You got flint? You have any flint? Flint? Flint like wood? Flint! Let there be toast. I wish I could cook the glowberries. I wish I could. I cannot. Make more sticks. Toast! Toast acquired. It's ever so slightly better than bread, but if you're getting a lot of bread, then it's absolutely worth it. Oh, you're backpack! Copper backpack at that! Thank you, backslot. Start getting things organized. Yeah, that can go up there. And then this will go... Yeah, we'll throw that up there too. Why not? I should... I can, if I really get desperate, start collecting rotten flesh to make leather. Because I can smelt it to get leather. But that'd just be for more backpacks. I'm gonna keep it as a very backup in the off chance that I do start wanting to do that. But otherwise, it's not a huge concern. We're gonna go back to the other one that we were at, way back here, and try a new direction. This is the exact direction I was just going. We're going this way now. Literally did exactly what I had been. 40 meal! Nice. And I don't care about the structure. Oh, I could get more diamonds from it as that specific. There's a specific one I can get. Hey, hold on. Spooky, scary, scaly skull. Thank you. Yeah. I'm not seeing... There's only one room that really kind of guaranteed to give diamonds. I'm not seeing it, so I'm not gonna bother. We carry on. Carry on. There's a mimic this way. Carry on. Carry on, carry on. Oh, hi, you. Right here. Yes, you. Yes, you. Thank you. Vampire glove. I can absorb people's health. These are some good drops. Where's Vampy glove? All the way up there. Nice. Okay. Beets? Beetroot. Oh. Very pretty cake. Beetroot. Okay. Oh, that I didn't even notice. Okay, apparently that was a completely different mimic that I happened to cross anyway. There's a mimic over here. Are you the mimic? Yes, you are, and you're a level 1, so I'll keep that in mind. While you're dying, can I see my mouse? And I want attack speed, thank you. Ooh, claws. Increases where's mining speed and base level. That's not a concern at the moment. I'm gonna start organizing like this, because I'm gonna want as much room as I possibly can manage for extra artifacts, because I'm going to be getting extra artifacts. It's going to be happening. Bunch of glowberry. Glowberry. Yep. That's about it. So higher level is kind of a concern, not quite. It's only concerning in the fact that things are going to start hitting me harder, but it also means that I get more XP per kill. So it's definitely a push and pull with that. Also, always mine around your ores, so you can find out if there's anything else that you might have missed. Because that is absolutely a thing. There's another mimic this way. Hey, the structure is gone to some spawns. Some spawns that I'm immediately going to ignore. I will take a free bucket to fill with some ugwa. Bread! Bread for toast. Bread for toast. Rotten flesh to hoard. A bucket? No, but I'll take the iron and the string. And I'm almost too full to get even that. I'll take the diamonds. How did I guess I just got one. Okay. No. Oh, is something I have? Do you... Fortune! Right, Lucky Scarf gives fortune. I forgot. Hey! Hey! Rude. Rude McCold. Thank you. Are you... Leather! You are leather? That's not what I wanted to ask. But you are? Is it stopping my Minecraft parodies? Is YouTube music stopping my Minecraft parodies? No, it's just a quiet song. And it shouldn't, hopefully, stop my Minecraft parodies. Pentaconter. Open 50 instance per player loot containers and collect your rewards. Where was I going? What was I doing? Oh, the mimic's up here? I need to stream more Amalgamation way more often. Because it is by far my favorite thing to do while streaming. It's a lot of my favorites. And I feel like I got probably some of my best energy while I'm streaming this. This hits a lot of high notes for me. Careful that I don't die to the stupidness of this. Yes? Chance to strike at players with lightning. I'll take that. What is happening with my face? It's probably... Is it upset about... I don't know what's going on there. Something's going on, though. We just got... the shock pendant. So we add the shock pendant. Where is it? Up there. I want to change the size of the window, but I was going to change the window capture, so I'm not going to do that. Why is it got... Were you under a red sand biome? I think that's the only reason. What? What are you? I don't know what you are. What are you? Why is there a barrel there? Oh, because of that thing, yeah. Yeah? Oh, it's a piece of gold. Oh, it's part of that. Yeah, yeah. I'll take a bucket. I see. Oh, I have seen water. There's water right here. Hello. Oh, right. I'm extra speedy in water because flippers. I forgot just how speedy I am. Oh my goodness. I haven't even upgraded speed. This is just normal. This is normal. I've upgraded my attack speed, not my speed. Did I see a diamond? I did see a diamond. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Wait. Yeah. Oh wait, I have clothes. That's the first time I've actually killed a monster. Oh, it's the first time I've killed a vanilla monster, perhaps. Sorin, out of my face, out of my way. I appreciate the XP, though. There's a child. Why is there a child trying to attack me? I just want to get the diamonds. I have a whole paparazzi. Eat some of the golden carrots so I can quickly heal up a little bit. I want to use... I can't see anything. Okay, that's all the XP. So I have that used. Because it's utter waste if you don't use it, because it's less and less. Same amount of XP gives you less and less levels as you go, yada yada. There we go. Speed's one of the first things I want to do, because the faster I am, the safer I am, technically speaking. As long as I'm not running into BS. Okay, where's my mouse? This is actually very integral. Jeez. Yeah, you are almost dead. You're about to be. Thank you. Can I literally just sit here? Get this diamond. This is not the diamond. That is. Thank you. That's all I want to do there. There's a diamond up there too. I want this diamond. Where? Right here. And then we'll sit down here. In the safe zone and put back on the shock pendant. I think we'll keep the lucky scarf on for a little bit. We'll keep the lucky scarf on until I'm not needing diamonds anymore. Because right now I'm going to be throwing it on and off, back and forth, until I get the amount of diamonds I need. So I might as well just keep it on for the moment. Yeah, it's my protection power. I don't care. I am my own enchantment. Yeah. Toast. Where am I gonna get toast? Down there! That's how. Just gotta run on down, light a campfire. Make it some toast. Are you... You're openable, you're fine. Iron chest plate, that's fine until I get enough diamond. Which I do not have. While I'm waiting to get enough diamond, I might as well make booty then. Because I already have iron chestplate. No point in making chestplate when I don't even have the booty. A piece of toast. Okay. This has accidentally become a underground only as well, which I find so interesting. It's actual? Okay. Give it a diamond. Ooh! 2 diamond! Make 5! Then just need 3. Yeah. What about use? What you say? Explosion. I'll take a shovel just so I don't have to craft one myself. Sweet dreams, apparently. Okay. Alright. That's not what I was aiming for, but alright. I'll take. Well, I'm going the wrong way. I think yes, maybe. I'll go with yes. Scarf of invisibility. It doesn't work as well as it should. But it is cool, and it does add to our list. Doink. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. And that should be a mostly accurate count of the stream timer. I'm gonna be paranoid about that for a little while. But hopefully now that I don't have the chat words little widget up, it's not gonna be lagging out my frickin' game. Is this a new one? Have I been to this? Yes, I have. I was just here, apparently. But I didn't see this stuff down here in this little diamond right here. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Into the wall to put my looty away. Hey, buddies. Can I just attack you from right here? Thank you. You gotta be a little bit careful, because if I'm not careful, I'm gonna fall right down there. Isn't there another creeper right there? Yes, there is. Hi. Thank you. Yeah? Hey, buddy. Yep, can you come on down right here? Thank you. I need to add. We're gonna add to my luck. And then where are you? Right there. Thank you. Where? I don't have enough. I'm probably at level 4. Hey, diamonds! Nice. Lightning bolts. Plenty of iron. Thank you. I will actually want a little bit of gold. A little bit of gold to upgrade backpack. Do that before I forget to. I like keeping extra crafting tables on me, sue me. Yeah, do I have enough? I do have just enough. So now we got a full diamond. I do still want more diamonds in order to make diamond claws. But until then, we go... I think I just need 4. I didn't know you could do that. Blink. Copper, right? Yeah. And then upgrade to gold. The only reason it only took 4 copper instead, or 4 iron instead of 8 iron is because it was already a gold backpack. It doesn't require you to use gold, or require you to make a copper one. You can just go from a normal one to an iron one, but if you do copper, you don't have to use nearly as much iron. And I just happen to have the luck of the draw of landing with an copper one. There's a campfire out that way. We're gonna head that direction. Hey, you got some bread? You got some bread? What you got? You got flesh. You got some goodies. Plenty of flesh. I don't particularly care for any of the rest of this, however. We're gonna take majority of that. I'm wasting food by being in this mode when I don't need to be. Turn that into wool so I can make backpacks now if necessary, and we're gonna avoid picking up more string from now on. Because it isn't necessarily needed. Oh, there we go. Yes. Campfire that way. I am loving this cup. I've had this poor rainbow tumbler that's currently sitting off the side For like 7-8 years, and I've cleaned and scrubbed mold from it more times than I can count. Just like little bits in little crevices, because it's a screw-on. It's gonna happen. Especially when I'm overfilling it like a butthead. Yeah, venomous, don't... Yeah, do it? I don't care enough. It's a fleeting care just because, and not a need. Oh, there's one over there. So I finally sat down and bought some new tumblers, and I bought 2 of these. Because 1, it was a decent price. 2, I can actually match these together. I don't think I'm gonna need to grab leather anymore. I think literally I'm only going after ores and artifacts at this point. And food. I need food. We may need to go to the surface at some point for food. Oh, diamond. Is that enough? That is enough for me to get my claws. Yeah, doink. Boop. Doink, doink. And so far, some of the reviews on this cup ad mix were kind of mixed, but it's actually turned out pretty alright so far. It's not bad of a cup, it's not like the most amazing thing in the world, but it's still a nice cup that's working good for the not a lot I paid for it. We'll see if that stays true in time, but for the moment, it's just fine. Nice, I swear I saw another mimic right there. Oh, there's the deep dark. Well, that took a bit longer than usual, didn't it? Cookies and bread for me to cook. Oh, yeah. And then, oh, it's just I was worried it was something else. That is just another one of these. And I think I could stop picking up iron as well. Definitely not a necessity no more. Toast. Oh, the toast. Lantern. Toast. I'll still continue to try and finish off. Oh wait, I think we can finish off the glowberries right now. Where's my little... Where's my... There it is. I got short little legs. Toast. Eat the cookie. And we're gonna sit here for a second because I'm pretty... Yep. I'm not sure how long that takes, if that's really fast. I don't know. Depending on how long it takes to cook this, then we'll either stay here for a minute and cook a bunch of it or not. But this has already taken too long for my liking, so I'm gonna say that's a not. How long do you take? Thank you. Thank you. You took forever. That is something. Cobble deep slate is not normal to the world. There we go. Oh, you're just level 1s. Okay, good. Goody, goody, goody. Get out of here. Yeah. The more upgrade speed, the better. And not required. I think I might have got twisted around at some point. There's a mimic this way. Right this way. You right here? You right here? Yes, you are, buddy. Hi, how are you? How are ya? Thank you. That's a new one. Increases wearer's attack speed. I like what we got going on right now, though, so I'm not going to skip it. Or I'm not going to use it. But that's another one to the books. And we do have enough. Now, if I could see my mouse, that'd be great, but I'm not allowed. Ned, how have I managed to pull this off? That is actually really nice that I have the green and the blue and the blue and the blue. Or the green and the green and the blue and the blue. Yeah. Another way we could go about this is Waystone Towers. Most of the time, I'll usually find something in there. But I'm not going to get nearly the same amount of loot. It's not going to be nearly as fun as all of this would be. My brain's going in circles about the D&D thing still, by the way. I would genuinely love to host something like that. That'd be so cool. I'd look into some actual, like, Dungeon Master stuff. So I could run it kind of like D&D and then look into some resources to help me get going. But otherwise, I still think that'd be so cool. I'm gonna need to write that. You know what? Actually, I'm not even gonna say, oh, I need to write that down. I'm writing that down right now. Because my previous thought process was, oh, just running with them, not actually treat it like a full D&D thing. Amalgamation. D&D map. Or Lilac and X. Beautiful. And that is why I have that journal, so I can write things down and just get straight into it. And I can also review old stuff and see what I still want to do but haven't actually gotten done yet. There's campfires over there. Hello, buddy. What you got? What you got? You got a parasol. I don't know. My brain looks at it and says parasol, and it does not say umbrella. Probably because when I look at an umbrella, I think water, like rain umbrella, and not... It looks like a sun umbrella to me. Hi! How are we over here? Yeah, hi, how's everyone? What you got? Devour? You know, I'll take, why not? No harm in it. No harm. I say as I'm triggering everything, but I could not care. I could not. Oh, right, my speaking triggers it, by the way. Did you know that? Did you know me talking triggers it all? Because it does. It genuinely does. And I could not care less. Da-da-da. Can you tell I don't give a shit? Can you tell? Because phantoms are overpowered. And it's very easy for me to show just how overpowered one is. There we go. Yeah, phantom overpowered. I do not give a shit. I do not care. Fishing 5. I did want to do fishing. Okay, hold on. We're writing down another thing. Amalgamation fishing. I want to make it possible for you to beat the game by fishing. Because I think it'd be funny. Amalgamation fishing update. If I could make it like Stardew fishing, ooh, I would love that. I know it's not for everybody, but I think it'd be funny. That would be fun. Y'all got food? Oh, there's another word in this one. Hey, buddy. You hear me? You were right there. There you are. Hi, hello, hi. Yes. Where are you going? Thank you. Nah. Oh, yep, you can have that trophy, thank you. Have a good one. Why did you spawn over here? Why did you spawn over here, huh, bud? What happened there? What are you doing there? Huh? What's up? What's wrong? Thanks. Have a good one. I'm just looking for... Where's your icebox? Where's your icebox? Because I haven't found it. I've just been walking in circles. Yeah? Oh, you went out. Okay, I'm sorry. There you go. Okay. Oh, I have toast. I have toast I could be eating. Thank you for the lack of darkness. Hey everybody, how's the party? There's a bunch of skulkers right here. Didn't even bother. Diamonds! Whoop, whoop. Yeah, no. Swift sneak 2. Oh, there's a mimic that way. There's a mimic over here. Where are you? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? We're somewhere over here. Probably right about here. Yeah? Yeah? Hi, buddy. How are you? Actually, if you would so let me. Thank you. I just wanted to use my XP first. Thank you. Obsidian! Skull! Temporarily immune to damage by fire. Or when taken damage. Whatever. Words are not my strong suit, surprisingly. Bullshitting out of my ass, however, is... Melon! Salmon! We cook a salmon. Uses? Melon use? I can't see. There we go. Yeah, I can make melon juice, but I need to get all-purpose food press. And probably just be easier. If I went back to one of the other places, one of the first places we were at, the crypt thing, I could absolutely get all the stuff needed to make that. Where's my nearest 220? Oh, there's somebody trying to look around and buy me. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. Okay. He sniffed me out. My heart jumped a little at that one. Trying to... Thank you. Okay. We'll be back. Maybe. It depends on... I need to stop grabbing iron. I said I don't need it. I don't need it. Why do I keep grabbing it? Because I don't need it. I really don't need it. We aren't using a bit of it. And yet, I grab. I greedy. Bread. I don't know why I wanted to say stone. That is not stone. Decidedly not. Oh, there's a mimic that way. Mimics. Mimic. Mimic. Oh, you all the way up there. You way up there. Let me maneuver myself around to you. Slowly cycle around you. What you got? We already got a heart. I don't need another one. We just got one. Meanie head. Don't you know this is bingo? I need to get a new one every single time. That's how I get this done in the 2 hours I want to get it done. Which is to say, in another 40 minutes. Why is there a bunch of campfires over there? What's... Oh, because it's that biome. Yep. That would be why. Doesn't explain... Oh, hey, it's the structure I want. It's right there. That is the thing we need. Actually, genuinely. It's watered down now. That's sad. Still nice and minty, though. I wanted to not fall to my death down there. And... Can I just... yoink? Thank you. I mean, why not? Haha. I just wish... What else? Oh, there has been one that's spawned. Okay. I need a hopper. You got a hopper in here? I know you got bottles. You got the bottles? You got bottles? Is there a guy right behind me? Yes, there is. There are guys right behind me. Nope. I gotta be careful the warden over there doesn't sniff me out either. We just need to steal the bottles if we can bottles. And we'll take more golden carrots while we're here. If we can manage to get it twice, that'd be great. I would love that. Get rid of that. Nope, nope, nope. That's in the way. Nope, nope, nope. Bottles! We'll take. Okay, that's when we run. Thankfully, we have enough armor and good stuff to actually handle that. So if I was a little worse off, we'd be dead. And we'd lose everything we just did. Oh hey, it's the exact same room again. But different. Do you... I don't care about the bottles, I care about the golden carrots. I do want one more bottle. One more. Hi. Yes, golden carrots. I do want una mas. Thank you. Por favor. And we get out of here. So I've already spawned quite a few wardens. In my carelessness. 189. That away. And we're back in the exact same room again! Take 3. This time, much farther from the deep dark. And doink yes, doink, 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 no, doink. Golden carrots! Dude. I need to just make an amalgamation for Everworld. That's what I need to do. Ooh! Upgrade to speed, and then we start upgrading attack damage, because that is very good for us. There's a warden over there? Why is the warden over there? Why have I created a warden over there? I just want to see, there's stuff in here? I'll have to remember that. We're gonna ignore the warden that apparently I have spawned. Hey, what? What is this mimic doing? It's been weird. There are multiple mimics and it's trying to show me both of them? There's this one right here. Cloud in a bottle! You can double jump! We'll trade out the obsidian skull for that. Doink. Fishies! We'll cook up some fish while I add that. Boink. Oh, if we get the magnet and running shoes, we got a bingo. If I can word good, which I never do. I really just need to find more things to do for amalgamation again. Honestly. At some point, I'm gonna end up with like 3 different series and I'm not gonna know what the fuck to do. We'll figure it out. At this point, Passion SMP, I think I'm just gonna record a quick session every now and again and get a little more stuff done until I get ultimately bored of it. And then we'll see if we want to run back another season of it. Who knows? Right now, Royal Realms is a bit of a focus, but once I start getting things really going, right now it's heavy in survival and me getting stuff done and setting up a story in the first place. So it's heavy work into that, which is why we've moved to only every Sunday. Oh yeah, there is another mimic over there, that's why it's getting confused. Do I have all the stuff? No, I do not have all the stuff. I have some of the stuff that I could craft to make the all-purpose food press that we need to make juice. Oh, that's cooking pot. We need a chest, and then we make a hopper. And then I need 2 pistons. So I am going to need redstone for that. Or find some. And yoink them. Yoink them for myself. Which is usually how we do. Come on. Come on. Trick or treat. Magnet! It's a magnet. We just need the running slippers. We just need running shoes. And we got a bingo! Which shall I... Oh, there's still a warden down there. Which shall I get first? My... bingo? Or my all-purpose food press? Is this... How many times are we gonna find this room? I've already been to this one! Because there's no spawners. And yep, no carrots. Did I just run back the exact same way I came? I think yes. I think I have. I think I did indeed. Oh! Warpstone. That'll do. We yoink at that. Oh, the warden I spawned is somewhere over here. Great. That's great. I love that. I love that. Golden apple. Diamonds! Bread. Golden apple. Bread. Diamond. Okay. You got redstone. Do you? Does you? You have a cool banner. And did apple for me. But no redstone. I should make toast out of that. I have not done that. You got redstone. You don't even have a single chest. There's not a chest to be had here. Good day. And we're gonna continue to upgrade that, and I can upgrade one more, so we're gonna put it into health. I can start upgrading a bunch of my health. We're gonna ignore everyone that dares bother us. Cause we don't care. There's a mimic this way! Mimic. Mimic. You wanna put an end to this challenge early? Or are you gonna let me find an all-purpose food press? What we gonna do here? Aquadashers. Aquadashers are fun. They are very fun. You can sprint across water with them. I didn't actually cross out that I got the blue ones. Okay, are there any of these that I haven't gotten? If I kill enough cows, I can get this one. The steak. We don't have anything in that row. We don't have anything there. We haven't got whoopee cushion or this stuff. Okay, yes, that is all we have. I just forgot that one apparently at some point. Because we have that sitting up here. Yes, we do. That is sitting up in my inventory. Aquadashers are so much fun. They're so much fun. Doink doink. I don't need spider head. I don't need any of that junk. I don't need any of it. Salmon. No. That's just a normal thing. Bread. I'll take bread. I take it to bread. Take it to bread, but then back to pack. I just want an excuse to say back to pack. Honestly. Back to pack. Redstone. Is that all? I believe it's so. Yes. Should be. Because if I remember crafting recipes right, that should be all that's needed, right? I completely forgot there's a bunch of shields, too. I never work with shields. I didn't even think about it. Just showed things I can make. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Pistons, which lets us make an all-purpose food press, which lets us make a shit ton of melon juice. Yeah. I know my own mods. Miracle. Blenderant. Lovely. Alright, melon juice acquired with the most annoying sound you ever did hear. I hate it. I hate it. I despise it. I'm gonna steal a casual diamond or netherite ingot. Depends on what the game decides. Neither. Neither. In here, those are dark ingots. There is a diamond pickaxe with Devour, which is basically kind of mending. I assumed too much. And it made a ass of me. Woo! Wait, I saw? Oh. Oh, I was hoping it was a waste stone. It was not. You. Apples, I'll take. Thank you. Anything? Iron, don't need. I require mimics. You are normal. Taking the leather, because I hoard. I very much so hoard. Fish! And we always need food. There's a mimic this way. Right here, right here, right here. Hey buddy! Hey pal! You want to end this right now, right here? No. Fire gauntlet. That would be nice, actually. Oh, let's trade out the absorb health, maybe. So kind of like the increased experience. We're doing alright health-wise. So let's... 1. Get to cooking. 2. Add this bad boy. I could also get the piston and the drinking hat now, then. We're getting a bunch in that specific area. Very, very helpful. Need sugar. I'm not sure if it's sugar if it's sitting right next to the bed, but anyhow. Fish. Quad. 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 How far is this gonna let me scroll in? Oh. Quad. 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 That's the farthest I get. I can't do any more than that. Quaddy quad. Quaddy quad. Hey, there's a little guy down here. No. No. There's one thing Amalgamation has done for me. And it's just wicked fast look at a chest and know exactly what's in it. There's another mimic over there. I forgot I had bread. I got bread to make the toast. You two are slow. Very, very slow. That's what I get for using campfires, but still, very, very slow. If you could speed up, I have a stream to run. Pretty please. Pretty please. Joe, I've been married a long time ago. Thank you. And we run along. Is that... Oh, that's a actual waystone over there. It's been a while since I've got one, so we should probably take one. Wink. What you got? Nope. What you got? Nope. Mimic right over here. Way up here. Jeez. And drink of the melon. Melon juice sounds good. I've been craving lychee juice recently, but melon juice sounds good too. Mimic. We already got that. That's the second one we've gotten. You suck. I don't need any of that. That's good loot, but I don't need it. There was another one over this way. I'm not sure if that was the same one or it was different. I think it was different, though. Yes, a different one. Wait, there's two! There's two different ones. There's one right here and there's one over there. Oh, they're baby! They're baby mimics. They barely got anything. They're level 1. They're not even level 1. They're level 0. Cross necklace. I like the shock damage one. We're not gonna switch out things yet. We're having a lot of ways to get bingo already. And about 20 minutes to go. Getting a lot of diamonds too. Yes, it's just that one that way. Hello! You want to put an end to this and give me the one thing I need? No, you do not. Increases the wearer's movement speed after taking damage. Hello. Let me through. Thank you. How about no? You're level 0. You don't matter too much. That's a normal backpack. Normal stuff, normal stuff. We'll add that onto the list. Where is the heart necklace? It's over here where no one cares. We haven't gotten anything over there to matter. Where's next campfire? Over here. No. There's a cloud in a bottle. I'll take another one. I don't care. I just want to see the large collection of these that I'm going to end up with by the end. Hello, little skellies. with diamonds for moi. And bones to throw back in your chest. There's a couple player bases back to back right here. No, diamonds. Do I even need? I have 23 diamonds and I'm not using a 1. Pumpkin, why not? Pumpkin and carrot. Steadfast spikes. Immunity knockback. We haven't been using the flippers. They're cool. We haven't been using them though. I would actually use this one. What's I think a charm you can literally put anything in there. Can I also put in... No, that's for... Okay, that's for the Totem of Undying. Okay. Steadfast spikes. Yoink. 20 tabs. Anything around? No. So we continue to follow the occasional little bits of smoke that I see. And hope it gets us somewhere close enough to a mimic. Just perhaps. It's like they're pretty scattered out right now, though. There's something up here. I'm pretty sure these can't really have the artifacts in them. I'm trying anyway. It also does give me XP, which is a bonus. And I still need to use the right-hand side to add anything. There you go. I was kind of hoping that by this point we would have gotten the Crystal Heart, which adds another row of health. It's so overpowered, it's so good. I adore it. My warden's around here. Great. That, or I've already spawned one in the few seconds I've been here. I'm not a fan of that. We're gonna just carry it right on. Right on, right on, right on. There's smoke over there. Or what? No, that's... Why was there chainmail armor over there? Oh, that structure. Yeah, that would do. That would do it. That would be why. There's a mimic up above me. I don't think I was gonna make a video out of this. I'm probably gonna make a video out of this. I'm having way too much fun with this to not do something with it. That's a word I want. Hello, Mimic! Are you gonna end the challenge right here, right now? Nope. I might postpone, that's the word I was looking for. I might postpone the Passion SMP video and just put this up instead. Honestly. And where? Oh, you're a camp. You're a campy camp. That is... That is... Yep. Yep. Campsite. Nope, 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 nope. There's a little food in there, but we have a lot right now. I could always use food, but... I could also always use inventory. We're back in the fucking building again! Wait, this is a new ancient city. This is the third ancient city I've been to. I'm thinking. Oh, so that's a different structure. No, that's a different structure. Okay, this is the second ancient city. Third? Is that an ancient city over there? No. Second ancient city we've been to. But, I think it's still appropriate. I'm back in the fucking building again. Apple. I mean, are there any mimics? Are there mimics? I don't need to be dealing with ancient cities right now. I'm dealing with that in Royal Realms. It's fine. Oh, that's why, because I was seeing the campfires. Are there any mimics? 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 And there's a campfire over there. Might as well follow that. No harm in it. Oh, that might be harm. I see a mimic this way. Will you do the job, my friend? You're level 8. Are you gonna give me a lot of XP? Whoopee cushion! What do I not care? I don't care about the cloud and I want my whoopee cushion. I'm happy. Whoopee cushion marked. Okay. Why they? I've already spawned in more wardens. Really? You're kidding. I mean, it does detect when you talk, but still. Oh, what's happening here? Nope, nothing much. I gotta hope something was occurring, because I can't see a damn thing for once. Usually the game bugs out a little bit. Thank you! Complain and you shall receive. What is that? Oh, that's that structure again. I don't care. I'm trying to find new stuff. Which way have I been going? I want to keep going this way. I want to go kind of towards that. What's up there? Oh, it's probably just actual biome. No, that's something completely different. I think that's the surface, though. Yeah, that looks like surface. The closest I will touch the surface is the stone. Piece of bread. Take some bread. Okay, where do all the mimics go? Where do the mimics go? Where are the mimics gone? Where's the ram gone? I don't need to be eating the quad. We eat the melon juice that I hate listening to so I can get rid of it faster. I could just spam eat all of them, but that'd also be a waste of food. There's a mimic this way. Oh, mimic. Mimic boy. Mimic. Mimic. Hi, buddy. You're level 14. You aren't gonna touch me. Thank you. We already have a shock pendant. I appreciate the gesture, however. I'm gonna start being scared for my life. If we start hitting level 20, then I'm not gonna let a single thing touch me, because that's a huge no-no. I will just die in one shot, regardless of armor. It's been a miracle I've done as well as I have. It seriously is, though. It does help I've been underground and we've been taking on reasonable fights this entire time. But, yeah, I know, shut up. Spawn in another warden, why don't I? Can I see anything? There's something over there. I'm going towards that. Of course it's another structure. Of course it's another one of those. What is in here? Hi, buddies. Can I do this? Thank you. Level 10s ain't too bad as long as I'm not letting myself get touched by them. That is the only concern in the moment. There's a mimic up there! Mimic! Mimics! Mimics! Can I carrot juice? Is that an option? I'm not even gonna look and see. I'm just gonna assume that I can. Because why would they not? That's an interesting... You aren't gonna let me make carrot juice? Carrot juice is not enough. What is... Crappie fishing rod. Gain regeneration fishing level on catch. Interesting. I definitely need to do fishing base. That'd be... I need... That's the next thing we're gonna do. Just because it'd be funny. And also, I kind of really wanted to. Hello, Mimic. You're not allowed to touch me. No, 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 no. Kitty cat slippers. Creepers have avoided me, but I don't care about that as much. Oof. What I care about is fall damage. It's one like 30 out this way. I don't want to get touched by literally anything out here. Of course, there's a warden over there. How long has you been there? Are you the mimic hanging out? Please tell me you aren't. I don't want to trigger. Okay. I'm trying not to trigger the warden that's over there. It just gave me another shock pendant. Hello, friend. Hello, friend. You're coming home with me. We already have that. We have many of that. Did it spawn another one? You spawn another one. Diamonds. I'd hate to get this far and get this close to actually doing something, and then I die by a sonic boom. That is the least ideal situation possible. Because we literally have multiple ways to get a bingo right now. We could get pretty much anything and it'd help us towards our bingo at the moment. There's another mimic over here. Where are you? Right here. Hello, friend. You're level 14. I don't like that. I really don't like that. What'd you drop? Umbrella! Oh, did it really spawn another frickin' warden? How many you need to make a statistic. There needs to be a statistic out there for how many wardens one spawns. What's over there? Is that another ancient? Oh, that's another one of those things. Wait, I saw... Oh, no, I think I just saw the west thing for a second. I'm going to head back over to the warpstone we have over here. If this these wardens, there's 3 of them, let me. I think I just spawned in another, which is why we are going... There's a warden, there's a mimic right here. It could be the thing. Where? It's up. It could be the one. I'm getting greedy, but it could be. Where? Over here, over here. Definitely this thing. Come on, come on. Villager hat. Not what I needed right now, bud. Not what I needed. Boink, boink. Thank you. Alright, all the way back home. Umbrella. Where? Oh, where is that on the list? Way over here. That doesn't actually help me. That is one of the very few spots that doesn't help. Boink. Where have I not gone? Where am I? Can I follow? I haven't gone this way. We're going this way. And we try again. I seriously want this to work. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I'm willing to stay up a little late if it means we can get this done all in one stream. I love that. There's a thing over there. Is that any mix? There's a warpstone. It's known to mimic. It is a thing, however, bread. I need to stop. I keep saying I need to stop grabbing the diamonds. I'm gonna stop grabbing them now, because I don't need them. We do not need them. I'll take bread. I'll take apples. I don't, however, need the diamonds. I have 40 of them and we haven't used a single one. I think I just need to do an equipment update, because I was talking about, as far as I'm aware, with the leveling mod, it doesn't affect your archery. The damage dealt does not affect your archery, and that's something I desperately need to fix, because that's just not fair to people who prefer bows and prefer long range. Flame pendant, where does you go? You're next to the whoopee cushion? Yes. Okay, if we get a piston, we have a bingo. If we get the running shoes, we have a bingo. So, we're almost there. Almost. But yeah, equipment update in general, because my mind went to, what if I could use these diamonds and make diamond arrows? Because we have the flint arrows, yes. What if you could make, like, diamond arrows? That'd be... I need to stop grabbing the diamonds. If you could have, like, diamond arrows, netherite tipped arrows, that would add on top of the damage. Plus with all the fortune, the crazy fortune enchantments we have, that would be fantastic. I never put down the villager hat. Hold on. I completely forgot that one. That's another one. That is another one. You're underwater. probably gonna have to go through it, though. I can go around it. This is the I can go around origin. I can go around it, I can go through it, it doesn't matter. I can go. It's simple enough. Yeah, I will check out what's over here. I'm like, do I need to? Yeah, I kind of want to. Want to see? Nope. No diamond. I'm not grabbing diamond. I'll grab the bread and the apple. Gold apple. I don't like golden apples. I'm not a fan of, I'm not sure what the golden one's called. I don't remember. I usually end up grabbing Honeycrisp apples nowadays. There's a while that I was enjoying... There's a mimic this way! There's a while I was enjoying... Granny Smith apples, but I mostly just prefer using them in pies now. Pretty much default to Honeycrisp nowadays. Hello! What you got? What you got? Come on, give me the piston. Another obsidian. We do not need that. How many times am I gonna get obsidian? Oh wait, hold on. Make it a toast. Make it a toast. And sit back for a moment. Is this still water? Yeah, it is water. It is minty water now. Which ain't that bad, actually. Get rid of my coaster. Okay. Yeah, there's a thing over there. I don't know if it's a mimic. It doesn't look like... There's a mimic that way. I'm gonna check what this is, just in case it happens to have it in one of the barrels for some reason. Nope. That is a thing. I might as well take it and add to the collection. There's definitely a collection happening here. That's for certain. I wanna organize. Organize. There we go. We got all the commons together. Where's this mimic? Up above, over here. In a little pocket. Hello, what you got? Power glove. Oh, hello. Bonk. Boomst. Oh, little one for bow. And you got a bow as well. But you don't stand a chance against me. Thank you. Okay. Is that... Power glove? No, I still need another one. That is yet another way we could get one. Get a bingo. It really doesn't like having something on my head, does it? I'm gonna... There we go. It doesn't like my head texture for some reason. It's really hating it. There's another campfire that way, another one that way. I'm gonna go over here, I guess. I don't know, it feels right. Yeah, we keep going. We keep going. I'm gonna do my damnedest to get there. Please. Please. Nope. Oh, there's that structure. I don't care about it, though. You can just straight up find blaze powder and blaze rods in it, which is absolutely fantastic. So you don't even have to touch the nether. If you so wish, you do not have to touch the nether. You can get everything you need in the overworld in order to make it to the end. Oh, there's a couple mimics over there. Okay, there's one down here. Am I right here? Yes, hello, 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 hi, hello. That is yet another power glove. We're gonna go boop, boop. Power glove. Doink, doink, doink. Nope. None of the above. Other one is right here. Yes, hello. Hello, you. And yet another obsidian heart, so that's our first 3. Yeah, we're gonna do something like this. Perhaps. Mayhap. We'll do that for the moment, until I get another 3 to balance that. Where are mimics for me? I don't trust multiple campfires next to each other because it could just be a biome thing. There's Terralith in this mod pack, and one of the biomes... There's a mimic right here. One of the biomes, I think it's Yellowstone, has campfires underneath the ground in order to get some aesthetic effects. There's another Scorf. So now we have 2 of the squares. And nothing else. A warpstone. Yes, that is a warpstone waystone. Warpstone's the thing you make to see the waystones. And I have not made that, even though I absolutely can whenever I want, but I just haven't. We have everything for it, and I have collected everything for it, and I completely forgot that I did that. I should probably do that, but I'm more focused on the mimics right now. This is the exact problem I have with my day-to-day schedule. This is the exact thing. There are other things that take priority, and then I completely forget the original things. Because I have everything done, I have everything prepared, I can go do the thing right now. But there's other things that take priority over the thing. What you got? Another magnet. Magnet. We don't need another magnet. I literally have 3 different options for something you can give me. And you have not given me any of those. Once. Not once. Not at all. I would appreciate if you did, but you have not. I would sincerely hope that you did at some point, however. We've gone out decently far at this point. We're hitting level 10s. Once I start hitting over that, that's when we're going to be concerned again and try and backpedal. But for the moment, we're fine. I'm mostly recognizing the structure around. Surprisingly, we haven't accidentally ran into the stronghold doing this. I would have expected by now we might have seen something that alluded to it. But we haven't. We've just been vibing. Loading a lot, but otherwise vibing. Anything in here? No. Anything in here? No. This has just become the mimic hunt. It absolutely has been. I could always go above ground and start killing a bunch of cows for the infinity beef, or whatever it is. Everlasting beef, I think it's what it's called. I'll take the fish to throw in my inventory for food later. Where, oh where? Where, oh where my baby be? Alone took her away from... Brain's going everywhere, but the places I need it to go at the moment. And this is not very helpful, not at all. Power, a fire gauntlet. We already have that. We already have that. But there's a mimic down here, and it better have what I wish for. Mimic. Mimic, do you have what I want? You're level 15, and I don't appreciate that, and I haven't been using my XP at all. No, you do not. You do not, in fact. And I think this is the moment where I, 1, grab all the things, so I can make the things that I'm supposed to. Doink, doink. I swear, if something happens while I am crafting this, I will be very peeved. It better not. Did I do this wrong? Thank you. Yeah, there's a guy right there. We're leaving. Goodbye. Back home. That's why I should have made that way sooner. Way, way sooner than I did. And I did not. We're past my usual stream time, but we're not past 2 hours yet, so we're gonna keep pushing. We're gonna keep moving, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna do my best, we're gonna try and get there. It's a mimic literally right here! How did I ignore you? For so long! You're literally right here. Come on. It was right back at spawn waiting for us. Let me put a piston on my head. There we go. That's the last one. That's why you just wait that little bit longer. That little bit longer. Literally, as I said. Perfect. Okay. Let's see the horrid amalgamation of what I've become. No, I don't want to get rid of it. I want to turn on all the things so you can see. And all the artifacts that went into my inventory. Beautiful. It kind of shows the disparity between what you will get. I'm pretty sure it's a random chance every time, but I forgot how much. Oh, I forgot how much I can't see when I have this on, for starters, and I can't see block entities, apparently. I can't see that bed. Something's broken there. Although I don't think I don't think you're intended to actually see through this. I don't think that's an intended feature at all. Alright, we got bingo! We got it! Perfect. I really do need to update this more. We're gonna leave this world here. Taco Bowl got us through. I mean, quick game. Taco Bowl got us through. That was fantastic. I adored that. I'm definitely going to be coming back to Amalgamation and trying to update it more. This will probably be mostly stream focused. If something I seriously enjoy occurs, then it will be edited either onto the second channel or main channel, depends on what occurs. This might end up just being a supercut of the important bits and pieces that will go on the second channel. If this supercut gets a lot of love, then I will do an actual video on it on the main channel. Otherwise, I think that'll be it. Thursday, we'll be back to Cult of the Lamb. We'll do Cult of the Lamb again. Continue our super hard. And then Saturday, either decorate that dream house that I was supposed to be doing today, or do more Amalgamation. Depends on how I feel. But I think that'll be it. Thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in the next one.